Hey, here's your heads up to this different episode, or this different type of episode of the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. I've got someone who's coming in to talk to us about fearless, intelligent, and moving from fear to awareness and understanding. It's going to be something I hope you really like and a development that I want to develop, because that's what you do with developments. Stay on the line, have a listen after this.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi, my friends. Paul here, Paul Clough. Personal Development Unplugged. The podcast. But a podcast with a difference today. I'm really excited. Can't tell you my voice, but yeah, okay, I'll be really excited. Excited for this little divergence I'm creating in these podcasts. Once a month, maybe once every 2 months, I'm inviting people to come and talk to us. Just about 15 minutes. But to give us their thoughts, their passion, talk about their passion of personal development in the areas that they're truly passionate about. And I just want us to get a different viewpoint. Because if we hear different ways of looking at personal development, and that's a different thing to do, different ways that we can hear to look at things, but to hear things of different viewpoints. Some of them will gel with us. Some of them will inspire us. Some of them will get us to think in different ways. Whether we take them on board or not, it doesn't matter. To me, it's just to get a richer understanding that we can get little glimpses of things that might inspire us even differently, better. Who knows? So this is the very first one. And this person is a guy called Michael Benner. He's going to talk to us about his passion for mental health, but fearless intelligence. In fact, he's written a book called Fearless Intelligence, The Extraordinary Wisdom of Awareness. And when you listen to him talk, you'll see that it's very similar to the way we've been talking and listening and working around fear, that negative emotion of fear. And the way Michael will be talking is moving from fear to an awareness and understanding. And he comes up with also you'll hear a great quotation from our friend, old Albert Einstein. Everyone's got that friend. And the quote is, any fool can know things, but to understand things. That's mastery to me, isn't it? And you see, you know that the way I talk and think around negative emotions and certainly fear, anxiety, they're effects of things. Purely an effect with a positive intention below that behavior. Cause and effect. Something must cause this effect, and the positive intention is around that cause. And the thing is, when we learn from it, we learn from the cause, the effect has to disappear, which is where Michael takes us a little bit, moving from the symptoms, the effects of fear, to an awareness. And that awareness gives us understandings, which brings us back to being responsible, which for me is being back at cause. Because when we're at cause and we become responsible, we become empowered to do the things we want to do, but understanding there's a positive intention too, we can work with our unconscious mind to find those better behaviors. And when we do understand, we are aware of what's happening, it's as if we no longer need that negative emotion of fear. So we're so much on similar lines of thought, but coming from a different direction, a different context. So I love the way Michael is going to take us deeper from the effects and symptoms, and he calls it like a downward spiral, to the awareness and understanding, to an upward spiral, which is a bit like we've been talking, where when we change, not only that context that you were suffering from had that negative emotion, maybe the fear, the anxiety around, that when you understand and let it go in that context, other contexts of your life change too. Because when you're more confident and comfortable in one context, you have to be different in other context. So all areas of your life will change when you change one area. It's awesome. It's like hitting that little domino rally. You do the work on the very first one, the cause, the root cause. And as we tip that one over through the learnings that we have, the whole domino rally seems to just fall down. And even those side shoots, they all fall down. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Michael, who will tell us all about it. So tell us more, Michael.
Well, my book, Fearless Intelligence, actually came out of a training that I was commissioned to write and present to the Orange County, California Sheriff's Academy. It was a self-awareness training, and we taught veteran deputies on street patrol, some of the younger deputies that were still working in the county jail, staff members, including people from the crime lab. They were all introduced to this idea of not only fearless intelligence and what that means, but more precisely, internal vigilance. So, when it comes to self-awareness, law enforcement people are trained in situational awareness, and so they're taught to be alert and aware of the world around them and any hazards or dangers that might be present in the world behind that rock, or be sure and look in the trunk, or did you check the back bedroom? What we did was expand that to their internal experience. Internal vigilance, in other words, is about monitoring your stress levels and your emotions, particularly anger and frustration. It's very easy to experience misguided or misdirected anger, for example. You may have an argument at home with your spouse. Maybe you get a tax bill you didn't expect, your kids are acting out, or the dog died, and you can't afford to take that to work. Whether you're a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, but law enforcement, you don't want to take that anger out unconsciously on some fellow that just rolled through a stop sign, right? So this is about internal vigilance, it's about self-awareness, and it's really about self-care. That's what security is. It's not just protecting yourself from danger in the outer world, external danger, but self-care means being aware of what's going on inside and taking responsibility for your emotional feelings, particularly the ones that hurt and frighten us, rather than think of ourselves as victims of our emotions. And that's really where the book Fearless Intelligence begins. Number one, with the idea that emotions are personal responses. They're like symptoms, and they reveal us and say much more about us than whoever or whatever stimulated the emotional feeling. We might often hear somebody say, well, you made me angry. Well, why did they make you angry? How did they make you angry? What does your anger tell you about them? We tend, through our thoughts, thinking about feelings, as odd as that is, to try to figure out the other person, the individual, the group, or maybe the circumstance or the event that caused us to feel this anger. When, in fact, like a red light or a gauge on the dashboard of your car, this is your response. This is an indication that you want to take a look under your own hood, so to speak, and see what's going on with you. If I know myself and have self-awareness and self-confidence, and somebody says something insulting or mean or nasty to me, why would I get angry? You see, you make me angry says, I'm confused about who I am, and I don't know myself very well, and there may be some truth in that insulting remark. In fact, it may remind me of the way my parents talked to me, or my big brother who was a bully, or the kids at school that made fun of me, or the girl that rejected me and refused to go to the prom, whatever. And so To take ownership of our emotional feelings means to be response-able, able to choose a response. These are my emotions. These are my feelings. That's where self-awareness, internal vigilance, as we called it at the Sheriff's Academy, and the book that came out of that, Fearless Intelligence, that's where all of that really begins. The second really key principle in the book Fearless Intelligence is the idea that anxiety, stress, worry, doubt, nervousness, everything from panic and phobias to mild apprehension is all fear. Sometimes clinically, psychologists will make a distinction between anxiety and fear and say anxiety is things unknown, and it's really a personal experience of confusion and not understanding things, whereas fear is a response to real danger. Well, in both cases, the more you understand what it is that's frightening you, the less anxiety or the less fear we experience. So clearly there's no real distinction. Anxiety, stress, fear, by any name, worry, doubt, panic, phobia, mild apprehension, it's all unknown. All fear is fear of the unknown, whether dangerous or not. It's like, hey, Bill, what are you so worried about? And Bill says, I don't know. I'm just feeling really stressed. I don't know why I'm anxious. I don't know why I feel so frightened. Well, that's exactly the point, you see. And so the antidote to that is to know, and even more to the point, to understand. There's a great Einstein quote that goes something like, I got to paraphrase it. It's basically, any fool can know things. The secret is to understand them. So we talk about knowledge. Ralph Waldo Emerson even wrote, knowledge is the antidote to fear. But more precisely, it's understanding. And understanding what? The external event or situation that's triggering the fear, the stress, and the anxiety? Yeah, but that's not nearly as important as understanding the one who's experiencing the fear. In other words, to know thyself. So the real antidote to stress and anxiety, whether you're willing to call it fear or, well, I'm not afraid, I just have my concerns, is to know yourself and manage yourself, not the world around you. There's a great adage from Eastern philosophy that said, and no one's really sure who this can even be attributed to, it's so old, but it goes something like, to avoid injuring our bare feet, we could cover the world with leather. It's just much simpler to wear shoes. Okay? Most of us spend our entire lives trying to control the world around us so that we don't get hurt or upset. And when I say hurt, I mean physically, but more likely emotionally. Disturbed or upset or, frustrated and angry and say something we're going to regret or do something that could be dangerous to ourselves and others. Instead of controlling the world, we can manage our responses. That's fearless intelligence. That's emotional intelligence. That's taking ownership and being responsible, able to choose a response, responsible for our feelings. They're not done to us. We're not targets or effects or victims of a life that's being done to us. We can choose through relaxation and expanded awareness better choices. We can manage ourselves, not only in response to situations, but of course we can initiate better responses. We can initiate out of whole cloth an entirely different perspective. We can reframe the situation, look at it a different way. We could immediately be forgiving and compassionate of a person who insults us. And even if you don't say anything out loud, remind yourself, this person's got a real problem. They're pretty insecure if they're trying to bring me down in order to feel equal or superior. And forgive them in the moment, and then initiate, following that reframe, an entirely new experience, something positive, something life-affirming, something that's even fun and enlightening for all involved, right? So with those two principles in mind, we can then go to an understanding of the dynamics of fear and confusion. If all fear is fear of the unknown, we need to recognize that just as things we do not understand generate fear and anxiety, that fear and anxiety is confusing and makes it even more difficult to understand, which generates more fear and more confusion and more fear and more confusion. And now we have a downward vicious cycle of fear and confusion, or unawareness and ignorance, that pulls us deeper and deeper, and often feeling stuck is actually holding on to those I don't know and I'm confused, which makes me even more fearful and even more confused. Curiously, there is an upward spiral. The inverse of that is awareness and understanding, or you could say love and understanding. And this is cyclic as well. When you understand something, you feel more relaxed and at peace, safer and more loving, which promotes even greater understanding and even more profound peace. So we have the same kind of cycle here with love and understanding that we had with fear and ignorance, except instead of being pulled down, we're lifted up by this gentle spiral of awareness leading to greater understanding, promoting expanded awareness and still more understanding. Now, the question, of course, at that point is, well, how do I get from one to the other? How do I go from the vicious cycle of fear and confusion pulling me down and causing me to feel stuck to enjoying the ride on the upward spiral of peace and understanding, or love and awareness, promoting more understanding and expanded awareness and more understanding and so on? I think of it as being like a railroad with two tracks, both beginning with the letter R, railroad. One is relaxation, the other track is responsibility. This is the key to moving from the downward spiral of fear and ignorance, feeling like a target or a victim or an effect of even your emotions, and sometimes the thoughts they engender as well. Imagine being a victim of how you think and feel, much less how you behave. Well, they made me do it, right? You're completely irresponsible. Not a good thing. There's really no safety in that at all. So relaxation and responsibility is the way we move from the vicious cycle to the uplifting nature of expanded self-awareness. Relaxation and responsibility. Breathe. Feel a letting go in your body from head to toe as you exhale. Take 2 or 3 more slow, deep breaths. And each time you exhale, a sigh of relief, a sigh of release. Feel the letting go. That actually changes brainwave frequencies. You lower from the scattered attention, from the frenzy and confusion of high beta brainwave states down into the alpha brainwave level. And at around 10 cycles per second, this is the actual frequency of the magnetic waves that are generated by your brain. We've been measuring these in science for over 100 years. As you relax, the frequency lowers, and the brain tends to synchronize both hemispheres. and integrate in such a way that it's easier to understand. And we are more likely to engender an epiphany, a revelation, or an intuitive aha experience. It's not about logic. Your feelings don't really yield to logic or figuring things out deductively. It's an intuitive experience to understand the meaning of your feelings and to enhance that awareness. So it's simply relaxation and responsibility. Again, the ability to choose a response means take ownership of the feelings. They're yours. And that's pretty much it. We have some techniques in the book on how to do the relaxation, an introduction. Some of it as simple as learning to listen to music in new ways. There's also a technique that's very fundamental to mindfulness called vipassana or insight meditation. And then there are some visualization and guided imagery techniques, including in the last chapter, a technique called a feeling dialogue, where you actually use meditation with guided imagery to carry on a discussion with your emotions, to find where they are in your body and give them a color and a shape and a texture and a temperature, and sort of cross-wire the brain so that you get in touch with the emotional feeling in much the same way that you could familiarize yourself with a physical sensation in your body, right? So that's Fearless Intelligence. The subtitle is The Extraordinary Wisdom of Awareness. And it's available, of course, on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And that's pretty much my story, and I'm sticking to it. Fearless Intelligence by Michael Benner, an introduction to expanded self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and stress management. I think you'll like it a lot.
Hey, that was awesome. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing things from a different viewpoint, from a different person. I hope you enjoy hearing from this person too, obviously. But I just want to bring you a richer understanding. Things that will just spark me, which will maybe spark you. And it's really going back to the thing that I just bang on about, which is this field, this integrated field of learning. Michael has shared, or Sean as we used to say, his thoughts on moving away from a negative emotion of fear by awareness and understanding. He still has that. We have it, but we also have our original learnings, and we can allow them to blend. We can evolve through understanding and awareness. And you can get in touch with Michael through his website, michaelbenner.com. I'll spell that out for you. michaelbenner.com. And have a look at his book, The Fearless Intelligence Book. He's a personal development strategist, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking. All stuff that we love here. So do get in touch with Michael. Let him know how much you enjoyed it. And what I'd love you to do for me is to just think, what else would you like to hear? Or is this slight deviation from the norm? Is it something that you enjoyed? If it is, what other people who you know who are passionate that we could approach and ask them to give that 15 minutes of letting us know about their passions? I've got one or two other people in the pipeline talking about NLP, about self-healing and things like that. But I want as many people from as many different backgrounds as we can, so we get this rich dichotomy of selfless service and the integrated field of learning. So I'd love your feedback on all of this. You know where to go. It's that email address, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. So that's it then. That's the very first of a different way. Be back next time with me rabbiting on about all the stuff in my head and what's not in my head and things I hear. But let's look to keep things different, to shake things up a little bit. Let's get curious of what we can learn from other people. And if you would, what I'm going to say to you as usual, if you got anything out of this, please obviously use it. Take action. Take that inspired action. But also please share it with other people. Share it with everyone you love. Share it with everyone you think who might need it, and share it with anybody effectively. If everybody who listens to this just shares this 3 times with 3 people and they do the same, we will share the love. Where did that come from, Cluffy? We'll be able to share good things and make this world a better place to live in. We're this little butterfly flapping away. We are going to create a storm eventually, because we can and we will. So please share, hit that subscribe button, you know the stuff, and leave a review. That's all you have to do. It'll only take you about half an hour. Nah, it won't take you that long. But it takes a little bit of effort. But it's effort that is well rewarded. Get it right, Paul. Well rewarded. Because you will be. Because you'll be paying it forward, and you'll be using and doing your selfless service for no reason other than help people. And that will help you, I know. Until the next time, my friend, I'll be with you then. Okay. Enjoy every heartbeat. And just wonder when you're going to be surprised to feel happy for no reason. Do you suffer from not being confident enough? What's it like? What's it like when you feel unconfident about things? When you worry about things? And what would it be like if that carried on? It would be a bummer, wouldn't it? And there's no reason for it to be that way, because you could, if you choose, to have confidence in yourself, to sing from your real voice, to know that you're aligned with what you want and you're competent and confident to have it. That's what you could do if you decided to. Sometimes, though, you need a bit of help to let go of that unconfidence, because you need to learn about it, learn from the root cause of that unconfidence, what created it, how you decided to be unconfident, what was the positive intent, and then find all the resources that you have inside you to actually become confident again. How do you do that? Well, funny enough, Cluffy, you have made a program for this, haven't you? Yes, I have. It's called Supreme Inner Confidence. Inner confidence is just, well, it's supreme, isn't it? When you are totally confident in who you are, singing from your own voice, shining, showing up, being who you really are. And that's what this program will do. It will take you from your unconfident state and create with 6 very special hypnosis tracks and 3 videos. It will create in you a newfound confidence. More than the old confidence you had in different areas of your life that have seemed to have disappeared, but it's going to create the confidence that you desire. If that's something that you'd like to explore, go to paulcloughonline.com/confidence. Have a watch of the video, read the words. But better than that, it's a money-back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose other than your unconfidence. So why not just take a little bit of the confidence that you used to have and go with it. Come with me on that adventure of creating who you really are supposed to be. Because if you don't want to work with me in person, work with me with the specially designed hypnosis tracks. Enjoy every heartbeat, because you can when you become supremely inner confident.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.